All right, man. It's been a crazy 2 weeks for me. It's literally been 2 weeks since I posted any long form videos on YouTube, and it's been crazy to say the least. Like I had to deal with first, I had to deal with car trouble, and then after dealing with car trouble, I had to deal with my furnace not working in the basement, and now that everything's fixed, I'm back here with another video. Something that I really did intend to cover 2 weeks ago. So something that's been going on in the Republican Party and in the conservative movement in America, and ironically, I just got off TikTok arguing with some black conservatives, is that a lot of white conservatives, especially the white nationalist neo-Nazi, because I'm too early in the video, I can't say the real one, but I have been talking about kicking black, Jewish, Arab, and Indian conservatives, and to an extent Asian conservatives, not just out of their movement, but out of the country as well. There's been a lot of back and forths about, over the past couple of I don't know if I really want to say years, but days where, for instance, with what happened to Myron Gaines when a white dude told him, like, see, this is the problem right here. You think when you help us, you get to stay in our country. You don't, stuff like that. And Brandon Tatum is getting his just desserts of a society that he helped build. And he's not the only one. For instance, more infamously, Ben Shapiro has a video, going over what some of the things that Nick Fuentes has said over the years about him and to him. And I kind of find that funny because minus the anti-Semitism, and you can even say Ben Shapiro's an anti-Semite because he's done signal boosted the whole George Soros left-wing conspiracy theory lobby shit as much as Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes. But the point being is that a lot of these minority conservatives have been getting their wake-up call, and it's been, excuse me, pretty funny to watch over the past couple of days. So we're going to check out about 5 or 10 minutes of this video of Brandon Tatum whining about a movement that he's weaponized his black skin to help create.
But guess who decided to use the N-word to bring up yours truly? Lil Hitler, Nick Fuentes.
Why would I? He's an...
I kind of find that ironic. I'm sorry to pause on Nick Fuentes' YouTube. I'm not advertising this dude. I'm just talking. He so happened to be spliced into the video. But remember, because Brandon Tatum is the type of, and I'm going to say it because I'm black. He's the type of nigga that would say that a white person saying and using the N-word is not racist. It's just a word. Move on. What happened to that shit? Like it is so. This video, like I said, I don't even really need to go over all of it because it's so ironic. Because the very racism that Brandon Tatum, Candace Owens, Jesse Lee Peterson, and all these other black conservatives, Amala, and that one like South Sudan kid or whatever, Amor Fadul, all these people downplay the actual racism and the vitriol for black people a lot of racist white people have. They constantly do this all day, all the time. And I find it ironic when it's brought to him, like Nick Fuentes called him an N-word. Suddenly, now racism is real, and somebody's calling me. I thought racism was only when a white liberal leftist disagreed with you. I didn't think racism was when a white person calls you N-word. I thought it was you supposed to just moves on. Like, what happened?
Idiot. Hey man, hey man, Tucker, them some hey man. He's a idiot. Brandon Tatum is an idiot.
I put this on my life. He would never say this to my face.
Why are you being so violent? Why are you being so violent? Like, I forget how invigoratingly stupid and hypocritical this video is. Why are you being so violent, bro? It's just jokes. See, Brandon Tatum, bro, you're the problem with black people nowadays. You're so sensitive. Why are you saying that he wouldn't say that to your face? It's just a voice, bro. You don't think that that's a racist caricature or something like that you would have to respond to.
You want to bet me? I will upload it on Instagram for you guys. If he would ever come and get in my face and say what he about to say on this thing, he would never do it. Like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime I go live and make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Let's get into this. Now let's get to the grand finale. Nick Fuentes, as some people call him. Only reason why I'm making these videos is because I believe Charlie Kirk, if he was still alive, he'll be crying out for us to say, you cannot humanize idiot people. What is humanization?
That's because the difference between Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes, Charlie Kirk was barely mask on white supremacists, and Nick Fuentes is definitely mask off white supremacists. And Charlie Kirk knows that the movement can't really survive without minorities, but Nick Fuentes doesn't care because his hatred speaks louder than his logic. And that's the only difference between the two. But if you actually listen to a podcast from Charlie Kirk or Nick Fuentes, or even you, Officer Tatum, y'all all three believe ostensibly the same exact things. And we can even throw Ben Shapiro and any other Jewish conservative in there too, or any other black conservative. Y'all believe the exact same things. The only difference is Nick is willing to stand on some of his beliefs to an extent, but y'all aren't. Y'all want to make this fake coalition of innocent minorities fighting against, monolithic thought, instead of accepting the fact that some people think that this is a white country made for white people, this is a country made for white people, I guess you can say. You don't need to say white the first time. And you can accept that those people are in your movement, and those are the inevitable political conclusions of your politics. So you have to downplay it. You have to, you have to try to tap dance and step around it, because that's the worst part. We'll get into that later, but you have to tap dance around people like this. These people exist and they're not going anywhere.
You mean humanization doesn't mean you can't interview them, you can't debate them.
Listen to this.
Humanization means during the debate, are you going to bring up any of this stuff that I'm about to show in my video? Are you going to challenge him on anything that you claim are your core values?
I mean, no, because Tucker Carlson, this dude is so dumb. Nick Fuentes is right. No, because if you listen to Tucker Carlson over the past 10 years, you would realize Tucker Carlson believes the same things as Nick Fuentes. Tucker Carlson is a white nationalist. So what is it that they have to disagree on? Tucker Carlson was pushing the Great Replacement Theory. Tucker Carlson pushed school shooting myths and truther bullshit. Tucker Carlson has been pushing, all sorts of vitriolic hate against ethnic minorities in America, right? Not even stopping short of Jewish people, because he signal boosted the whole George Soros shit too. So that's why Tucker Carlson didn't push. And now that Tucker Carlson is not mainstream anymore and he's independent, he can lean more into his open white nationalism. So why would he push back? Because this is not Tucker Carlson being a hypocrite and not pushing back. This is Tucker Carlson not being beholden to the media standards barely that Fox has, and then embracing not only his own white nationalism, but people that think alike him too.
Humanizing somebody is saying this person, like for instance, let's say Hitler was still alive.
Listen to this.
Well, let's say we can go back in time, because Hitler would be 100 years old, something crazy. But let's just say we go back in time. During that time period, Hitler did all these atrocities and all of the great, horrible things that he's done, and the grave danger that he created amongst the world. Just say him and Stalin. If you interview Hitler or Stalin, normalizing them would be like, I'm going to let them just say all this stuff, and I'm not going to push back on what he's doing to.
If you interview him, you will then say that I interviewed Mr. Adolf here, or Mr. Stalin, but just because they did these things doesn't mean all white people think like this. And I kind of understand where they're coming from, because again, and I just got finished arguing with some goddamn conservatives. It's like y'all reinforce white nationalist beliefs all the time by saying that other races of people, specifically your own as a black person, is more dangerous or threatening than other people, or even adjacent white people living in their community. So you ostensibly repeat and reaffirm the same things, people like David Duke, Adolf Hitler, George Lincoln Rockwell, the writer of the Turner Diaries. All these beliefs, right, are reaffirmed by black conservatives because you refuse to have a systemic analysis and constantly move the goalposts so racist white people feel comfortable in their racism. So you interviewing a white supremacist and saying that you will come out on the other side disagreeing is a goddamn lie. You worked for or with, whatever you want to say, a white supremacist organization. Turning Point USA is a white supremacist organization. You worked with them, and your job as a black person working there with them, like with the whole Brexit shit, is to reaffirm white supremacist beliefs, to make sure that the black people that will listen to you be in a state of non-combativeness and complacency in the system. That's your job. And it's like there would be no point. There would be no point in you interviewing a white supremacist because the only thing you would do is sit quietly, listen to them, come out at the end saying, I agree with you, and that's why I do what I do, try to get black people to take responsibility and all that other shit. So this is ridiculous. The idea that any black conservative, because y'all are constantly around white nationalists, and neo-Nazis and whatever you have, and y'all never push back on them. So no, this is bullshit. You wouldn't push back on Nick Fuentes if you interviewed him.
The Jews, Stalin's mass murdering of so many people.
Why did you bring up
Stalin? Actually killed.
That's another fucking thing. It's like Joseph Stalin is a piece of shit who went along the horrible shit he did for different reasons. Why couldn't you see? Look at this. You couldn't bring up Adolf isolated from Joseph Stalin. This is the shit right here. Why in the hell do you need to bring up Joseph Stalin and Adolf in the same sentence? You shouldn't have to fucking do that. You shouldn't have to, because just say you don't like Adolf. Just say Adolf's a piece of shit. He was a horrible human being that led to a large amount of atrocities in this world that we're still dealing with the ramifications of till this day. Say that. Why do you need to bring up Joseph Stalin? Because that's a neo-Nazi tactic right there. Is that in order to say one person's bad, you have to bring up somebody else. Because that'll be like me saying, bro, I think people like David Duke and Pol Pot are terrible pieces of shit. I don't need to say that. But right now, he's operating under a white supremacist defense framework by having to put people with other political viewpoints and standards into the same conversation as an actual Nazi. Well, the Nazi, if anything.
What Jews than Hitler did. And you're not getting, it's like interviewing Stalin and not bringing any of that up. That's humanizing people.
That's a tactic right there. Why
or normalizing, not humanizing, but normalizing people. People keep telling me, Brandon, you should debate Nick Fuentes. It's like,
I dare you.
I'm not a wussy like Tucker Carlson and all these other people. You come on my show, bro, I'm going to get in your rear end. Pause. I'm going to get on your case.
You're not.
Nick told me to say that. It's his generation that did the pause. I'm going to get on your case, bro. You're not finna sit across from me, all that junk you were talking online about me being stupid out there, and I'm not going to say nothing about that. The crazy things you said about my friend Charlie Kirk, I'm not going to confront you on that, bro. The stuff you said about Erica that was disgusting, I'm not going to confront you on that. You running your mouth using the N-word against black people, I'm not going to confront you on that.
No, you wouldn't confront him about that. This is so fucking dumb, bro. I'm only 3 minutes into this video, and it's just riddled with fucking hypocrisy. No, you would not confront any white person for saying the N-word. You would say it's just a word and I'm going to move on. Because that's the black conservative talking point. Or are you going to step out of line and defend your people? I don't think so. I really fucking doubt it.
All right, don't believe me. Let's pull these clips up, bro. First clip of the day.
What clips do we
is
have?
What this fool said about me.
Nick Fuentes. What?
Tell me that you would hear somebody like Charlie Kirk talk like this. Just roll the clip.
That's your
Roll over
question?
content $21. There's this guy called Officer Tatum, aka Officer Talmud. You should watch his 30 minutes crash to Nick Fuentes x Tucker Carlson interview. Lol, and his comments are filled with Zios who despise you.
Why
Hold on
would
a
I?
second.
He's
Hold on a second. I put this on my life. he would never say this to my face.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would. Like, this is, oh, man, this is, like I said, it's worse than I thought. No, you would not do anything, bro, because keep in mind, in the same sort of arguments, right, that I have with black conservatives, right, they say that the N-word is just a word and anybody should be able to say it. So you're telling me that you're going to throw away all those years of social programming to defend white people acting out in racism to do something to Nick Fuentes? No, you would not, bro. You wouldn't do nothing. Like, I really fucking doubt it. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
You want to bet me?
No.
I will upload it on Instagram for you guys. If he would ever come and get in my face and say what he about to say on this thing, he would never do it. He would come
I
when
believe
he
would.
when he
You wouldn't do anything.
approaches me, which he never would. He would be trying to be my friend and be nice to me.
No,
just like all these other fools that I catch in public. And they go, oh, Tatum. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got a great...
Oh, that's funny.
An idiot. Hey man, Tucker, some. Hey man.
We shouldn't blur it. I want people to hear what he's saying.
I mean, what happened? I thought he was just telling a joke. You wouldn't tell me that Nick Fuentes is doing a racist caricature of you or something like that. You wouldn't say that now, would you?
Brandon Tatum is an idiot. Dumbest person I've ever heard. He should get an education. Officer Tatum should get an education. He should learn how to read.
Is he making fun of AVE in a way that black people talk and enunciate words that they ironically learned from Southern white people? Or, how was that? Tell me again how that's racist, Officer Tatum. I thought racism didn't exist. Racism is supposed to be a fairy tale, something that never even happens. Like, this is like, it, I know I keep saying the same thing over and over again. I'm probably going to end this video soon, but it's so hypocritical. Because keep in mind, bro, these people spent years saying that racism wasn't real. The N-word is just a word. These are just jokes. I'm not so easily offended. And now that the racism is getting directed directly towards them, or in some cases anti-Semitism with Ben Shapiro and that one lady that worked for the Blaze, now suddenly racism is real, it's offensive, and we need to call it out. And then he has the nerve to say earlier, do you think Charlie Kirk would do this? No, because Charlie Kirk was more of a false intellectual than a political influencer. Don't get me wrong, he did both, but Charlie Kirk, was not doing caricatures because he was a good person. It was because Charlie Kirk was maintaining a facade of a false intellectual. That's why. They have different personas, and Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk had different ways that they operated in spreading the populist message of white nationalism. Nick Fuentes is an online political influencer. He's a little bit younger. He's a little bit more outspoken. He's a little bit more jokey and laid back, while Charlie Kirk took the reins of the false intellectual. And that's why these two people behave differently. Not to mention Charlie Kirk, of course, made more money and was able to keep his views mainstream because he couched them in fake intellectualism rather than the way Nick Fuentes does it, which is raw, unabated racist jokes. But not to mention the fact that Charlie Kirk would defend racist jokes, he would defend white people saying the N-word, and he made lots of racist talking points. His literal in-depth, the last thing that he said was something racist. So that says a lot about his politics. So Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk disagreed only on the way that they will espouse their racism and build their racist movement, not ostensibly on their political viewpoints. It's like saying that George Lincoln Rockwell and David Duke are two different people. They believe completely different things. Look, Rockwell was a political organizer. He talked to these people and all this other shit. He talked to the, who you call them motherfuckers with Farrakhan? Oh, he talked to these people and stuff like that. And David Duke, he never did that. So these are two completely different kinds of people. How could you say that George Lincoln Rockwell was racist because he sat down with black people? Like, no. Like, obviously, like, racism, as it plays out as an ideology, is more complicated than that. But that was a whole spiel on something, because like people tried to whitewash Charlie Kirk and who he was, and it's just ridiculous.
And maybe he got the reading part right. But
So,
everything
why would I
else he
waste my
said
time?
is crazy. He said the N-word.
So
He said all kind of other stuff in his speech.
yeah.
We were trying to block it so they don't ban us. But that's what he really said. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do on one of my other platforms that we don't get canceled on? I'm going to play the raw clip of it. Maybe on my Instagram or something, I'll play the raw clip. Y'all can go to my Instagram and find it, the raw clip of it, where he's saying the N-word and acting a fool.
I'm not really surprised.
But we got a whole bunch of other clips. Let's roll clip 402. And this is just a few clips I have. There's probably 400,000 clips of this fool just being a nut job. And Tucker brings him on, and people don't know this side of him, right? He go on PBD pop.
No, we know, they know that side of him. They just bring him on because they're racist too. And they're okay with Nick Fuentes' racism. Keep in mind, he was on Fresh and Fit with Myron Gaines, who wore a Klan outfit. Patrick McDavid is a unabated complicit racist. So, like, yeah, these people know about Nick Fuentes' racism. And I guess maybe Nick Fuentes is right. Maybe Brandon Tatum is just really stupid. You're stupid if you didn't know that Nick Fuentes was a racist. You're stupid.
Podcast, he go on people's podcasts and they go, But then people don't know that this is the other stuff he's saying on his own platform. Roll the clip.
Hey, I'm a stone cold white nationalist, and I love Hitler, and I don't want Indians here, and I'm not a Democrat, okay? And I'm not woke, and I'm not liberal.
All right. And let me preface it too, because I don't want nobody saying, Brandon, you took that out of context. I watched the entire video. He goes on to act like, oh, we can't talk like this. We can't talk like this because it's bad. So he's doing that superfluously. So there's no additional context to what he said. Let's roll clip 403. Roll it.
It's like lady.
What happened? I think you're taking him out of context.
Didn't your husband just get his face blown off like 2 seconds ago? And not to be insensitive about it, but everyone's thinking it. No one wants to be the... No one wants to say it. Everyone's thinking it. Everyone was thinking it when she gave the first speech. Everyone was definitely thinking it at the memorial. Nobody wants to say it because it's inappropriate. It's insensitive. I am the troll, right? So I'll be the one to say it. I think it's super inappropriate. I think it's inappropriate. I think it's weird. It's bizarre. Something is off there, and I don't like it. But they're doing the Super Bowl commentators with the headsets on, doing a media table. They're selling merch, registering voters. They got pyrotechnics. Is this WrestleMania or is this a funeral? Like, what are we doing here? And then, the day after the funeral, I'm getting 500 texts and emails. Erica Kirk here. I miss him. Every time I blink, every beat of my heart.
I think we're done here, and we got the part side of this that I really wanted. So, in conclusion, so earlier today, ironically enough, before I made this video, I have got finished just arguing with some black conservatives asking me, how are they dangerous? They, wouldn't let me talk, being really dishonest. But this is why so-called right-wing, white supremacist-centered black conservative ideals are dangerous, because you normalize, white supremacy, neo-Nazism, and other horrible political ideologies by weaponizing your black skin to defend the status quo of inequality, not only against blacks, but also whites too, which leads to an endless cycle of lies, conspiracy theories, and false narrativizations that lead people to white nationalist conclusions, like here with Nick Fuentes. And I, make this video also to call out Officer Tatum's officer. That was kind of funny, but hypocrisy, right? Because again, Officer Brandon Tatum and Jesse Lee Peterson, Candace Owens, and more have for decades, right? For decades now, at least since the late 2000s, but even people like Thomas Sowell have weaponized their black identity to defend white supremacy, downplay racism, say racism isn't real, downplay people saying slurs like the N-word, normalized racist humors against black folks and others. And this is the result. You wind up with a radicalized far-right white population of people who don't like minority people. And now they're to the point comfortable now because they seem like they're winning everything, so they don't need you anymore, and they're willing to kick minority people out of their movement because they don't need you. Like, you have Nick Fuentes calling people like Justin Whitlock and other people tap dancers and sellouts and all this other shit. It's because they don't need you anymore. And this is one question I always ask black conservatives, like, what are you gonna do when these people win? But, you know, you can play victim and pretend like these people with these far-right political predilections don't exist. But, again, as you normalize them in society more and more, we wind up here. And that's the video.